Hey everyone, it's me, Speed Force Legends, and today I'm going to be doing a video on why Cicada is not as bad as everyone says. Now, I've done a video about this on Savitar last night, so now I'm going to do the same for Cicada because, like Savitar, he also gets a lot of hate. And a lot of things I do agree on. Because, don't get me wrong, he is by far the worst main villain of the Flash, but it doesn't mean he's bad. I still like him a lot. And I'm going to be telling you all why I like him and why he's not as bad of a villain as people make him out to be. And he does have some problems, yeah, but really, I'm just one of those people who saw more of the good stuff than the bad. Really, if he was a mini-arc villain, then people would have liked him more like they do with Bloodwork and maybe Mirror Monarch. But anyway, let's get into this. One criticism saying he is a joke and not a threat and always gets away. Which, if I was an average person and you were telling me that, I would have been like, okay, what makes him so scary? But then, as someone who actually seen Season 5, let me explain to you that there's a thing called getting the upper hand. Cicada, he beat Team Flash to a pulp many times before. And Reverse Flash, Zoom, and Savitar, they weren't all invincible either. They have gotten away at the end of fights. Thawne was blasted by Firestorm right when he was about to kill Barry. Zoom was hit by Harry's dart. Savitar was frozen by Killer Frost. He's not immune to injuries. None of them are. Other criticism he gets. Well, actually, before I get into that, and another thing about him not being a threat, okay, let's talk about what made him so interesting and why he is menacing. For starters, in Nora's timeline, Cicada was never caught and was never defeated. And that's why Nora came back in the first place. Cicada can take away the powers of his enemies if they have dark matter. So, think about it. Having a hero powerless and vulnerable compared to his enemy, you call him not a threat. You're also talking about the same guy who almost killed Cisco, threatened Joe to interrogate where he was, and Another thing, more importantly, he broke Nora's back like Zoom did to Barry, and pushed Barry to want to kill him for all of that, which makes him a compelling rival and threat to Barry. Not only that, but he is the reason why Nora had to reverse time 52 times, because he was able to kill all the members of Team Flash. Yes, even Killer Frost. The one metahuman he cannot take away his powers from. He's killed her in many of those timelines. Another criticism he gets, his motivation for killing metahumans is stupid. Okay, just wow. I get that not all metahumans are bad, but that doesn't matter to people like Cicada. He's had a bad history with them. His sister and brother-in-law were killed by one, and that's why he had to raise Grace. And then all of the other stuff that went down to finally the night of the Enlightenment, where Grace almost died and Orlin was injured very badly. And also when Dr. Ambrose says that it's the fault of these metas, and then was watching the news of the attack because of the night of the Enlightenment. If you see his perspective, of course, he would want to kill all metahumans so that way and nobody will suffer the same fate he did. And so therefore, either, let's say, the Flash went evil or something, or if more metahumans were created, you name it. Another criticism he gets, he's overpowered. Well, that's the opposite of what I was saying, and I wouldn't say overpowered. People say the same about Savitar, but I don't understand how either of those reasons are even problems. Other criticism he gets, bad acting. Well, I'm no expert or anything, but I've seen way worse than Chris Klein's performance as Orlin Dwyer. Like, watch Attack of the Clones or something with Anakin Skywalker. Watch Batwoman. That's a great example of bad dialogue and acting. Not Cicada. His dialogue is realistic, and I actually think that his voice is pretty badass. And as for his facial features, well, that's just to express anger and hate, like all villains/characters do. So really, that's more of his feelings than anything else. And most of all, saying he's not intimidating or scary. Well, I wouldn't say that when comparing him to villains like Zoom, Bloodwork, or Psych, but Cisco called him Michael Myers. He's the victim's sound, the sound that they hear is like a cicada. And even at the beginning, his presence was very unsettling. Like when he interrogates Joe and scares Cecile to death and all of that. Even Nora has always been afraid of him too. So, yeah, if you still don't like Cicada, that's fine. Just know this video is proof he's not as bad as everyone says. Although he does have his problems, yes, but that's all for a completely different video. And I'm also trying to prove that even he had sense of urgency, like all good villains should have. So like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment below any other video ideas for me, and I would have done the same thing for the Thinker and Mirror Monarch, but DeVoe doesn't get that much hate. And Eva, I can understand the criticism other than saying she's from a comic book, but, well, I don't really need to debunk all that. It's just not something I agree with, but I feel it. Bye, everyone.